Welcome to Building and Clashing with Toulmin Argument Chains. Team, today we're going to focus on one of the most important skills in congressional debate, building complete logical arguments using the Toulmin model. You'll see how these arguments look different depending on whether you're one of the first speakers on a bill or you're one of the later speakers. And just as important, I'll show you exactly how to build your cards so that your research and your arguments stay organized. We'll use our AI and Immigration Courts Bill number 9 on this docket as our example throughout this lesson. Think of an argument like a chain. Every link makes the whole structure stronger. You start with your claim, the main point you want to prove. You back it up with grounds like facts or statistics. Then comes the warrant, which is often forgotten. This is the logical reasoning that explains why your evidence proves your claim. Next is the backing, which supports the warrant itself, usually with research, precedent, or expert authority. Please notice there are two evidence sections of an argument chain, the grounds and the backing, both of which are critical to the credibility of your argument. Next is the qualifier. A qualifier keeps you from overstating things. Words like likely or in most cases make you sound more credible. Every argument must have an impact, explaining why it matters, who is affected, or what the stakes are. And finally, there's the rebuttal, which either anticipates or responds to a counter argument. Judges especially care about the warrant and the impact. Those are the links that usually decide who wins the round. Before we move forward, here's a critical reminder. By this step, you've already done the hard work of breaking the bill into Spleem-Isha angles. That's where your claims should come from, not from thin air, not from what sounds flashy in the moment. Always root your arguments in one of those angles. And remember, the administrative angle is non-negotiable. Every bill has to be analyzed for how it will actually work in practice. Judges love this because most real-world legislation doesn't fail on good intentions. It fails on execution. So make sure at least one of your cards always deals with administrative feasibility. That's how you sound like a policymaker instead of just a debater. Lastly, when prepping a bill, most of your arguments will come from the obvious angle: social impact, economic cost, or political consequences. But remember, the judges have already heard those arguments over and over. To stand out, you should prep one or two off-angle arguments. An off-angle argument comes from a lens that's less obvious, like education, historical precedent, or international relations. These arguments give you a fresh angle that fewer competitors will think to use. For example, if a bill is about technology regulation, everyone will talk economics and security. But a historical argument about how a similar regulation failed in the past, or an educational angle about how it shapes workforce training, makes your speech unique and memorable. You don't need to overload your prep with them. Just one or two off-angle cards per bill are enough to give you flexibility. If the debate starts sounding repetitive, you can drop in a new perspective and grab the judge's attention. Your cards are the heart of your debate prep, and they all follow the same structure. On the front of the card, you'll always include the bill number and short title so you know what debate it belongs to, the card type, which we'll break down in just a moment, the Spleem-Isha angle that grounds your argument in a policy lens, and then the Toulmin chain itself. That means your claim, your grounds or evidence, your warrant, which is the reasoning that connects the evidence to your claim, your backing to support that reasoning, your qualifier to limit the scope of the claim, and your impact, which explains why it matters. Depending on the card type, you'll also include a rebuttal or a refutation. On the back of your card, you'll keep your credibility receipts. That means the full source, author, organization, and year, followed by a short evidence excerpt, usually 2 or 3 lines, and then a quick statement of credibility like Department of Justice report or Stanford AI study. You don't read from the back when you speak, but if a judge or another representative challenges your evidence, you can flip and prove exactly where you got it. Now let's talk about card types. Argument cards are your building blocks. They follow the full Toulmin chain. For early speakers, argument cards should also include a preemptive rebuttal, so you're cutting off the most likely counterarguments before opponents even use them. Refutation cards are designed for later speakers. The claim on these cards is written as a direct counterargument, and it usually names another representative's point. That way, you're not just giving your own idea. You're flipping someone else's argument and rebuilding the logic chain in your favor. Judges reward that direct clash. When you walk into a round, you want a balanced deck. Argument cards to build and refutation cards to clash. This mix ensures you're ready no matter when you're called to speak. Here's an example of an early speaker pro card. Notice how the claim is direct. This bill reduces backlogs. The grounds give a fact, over 2 million pending cases. The warrant explains why AI fixes that. It can automate scheduling. The backing is an outside study providing AI works faster. The qualifier keeps the claim realistic by limiting it to low-risk cases. The impact explains why it matters. Families won't wait in limbo. And finally, a preemptive rebuttal anticipates the obvious attack, that AI makes mistakes, and then it answers it. On the back, you'll see a full citation, a quote from the DOJ, and why it's credible. If someone asks where you got your backlog number, you can answer instantly. Here's a later speaker con card. Notice the claim is written as a counterargument. It even names another representative, Representative Lee. This shows judges you're directly clashing. Then the Toulmin chain continues as usual. Grounds with a Stanford study, warn about racial disparities, backing from DOJ audits, and a focused impact about injustice for asylum seekers. On the back, we have a full citation, a short quote, and a credibility note. That way, if anyone asks how you know AI carries bias, you've got Stanford and DOJ ready to back you up. Early speakers are the builders. Your job is to lay out the foundation of the debate with strong argument chains. Because you won't get another chance later, you need to include preemptive rebuttals inside your arguments. That way you're cutting off common attacks before opponents can even use them. 2 or 3 argument chains are plenty for a 3-minute speech. Don't try to cover everything. Think quality, not quantity. Later speakers are the clashers. You don't just repeat the same arguments, you respond directly to what's been said. You can open your speech 2 ways. First, with a brand new argument card, introducing a fresh angle into the debate. Second, with a refutation, a claim that directly names and challenges another representative's argument. The strongest later speeches usually combine both, 1 new argument and 1 sharp refutation. Always name the representative you're refuting so judges can see you're paying attention. This balance shows you're advancing the debate instead of recycling points. Congress speeches are capped at 3 minutes, so you have to be strategic. Spend only 15 to 20 seconds on your introduction. just enough to state your stance and grab attention. The body is where you put your Toulmin chains. 2 or 3 arguments is the sweet spot. Early speakers will weave in preemptive rebuttals. Later speakers will blend new arguments with refutations. Finally, end with a quick conclusion that reminds the chamber of your stance and the big picture impact. This keeps your speech sharp, focused, and persuasive. Let's dive into a snapshot example of a pro argument in an early speech. Notice how it effectively uses the Toulmin model. First, the speaker starts with a clear claim. This bill reduces immigration backlog. This grabs attention and sets the stage. Then they provide solid grounds by citing over 2 million pending cases, making the problem tangible and urgent. Next, the warrant and backing are introduced through pilot studies that show AI triage can speed up processing tenfold. This is crucial because it connects the problem with a viable solution. The qualifier is subtly included by acknowledging that AI is best for low-risk cases, ensuring the argument remains realistic and focused. Finally, the speech concludes with a preemptive rebuttal. It anticipates concerns about AI errors and addresses them with solutions like oversight and appeals. This technique of predicting and countering opposition strengthens the argument and builds confidence. Understanding and using this structure can greatly enhance your persuasive abilities. This is a snapshot of a con argument in a later speech. Notice that the claim is phrased as a counter-argument and even names another representative. The Toulmin chain unfolds with evidence, reasoning, and a clear impact. The phrase "even if" is a powerful refutation formula. Judges love it because it shows you are directly clashing instead of repeating points. This is how you elevate the debate when you speak later in the round. Here's the bottom line. Early speakers are builders. Later speakers are clashers. Every card you write should be a Toulmin chain on the front with sources and receipts on the back. Each speech uses 2 to 3 cards. Judges are listening for 3 things: logical reasoning, direct clash with other arguments, and a clear explanation of why your points matter. If you master those 3, you'll stand out in every round.